Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live. I'm Mike Smith, along with Aaron Glandon. Dan Ramey is on assignment today. This is the 18th of June. I'm not going to say it because it just sounds like you're an old man saying the same thing. Where has the time gone? That's why you got to stay active.
Yeah.
So you're not just sitting around watching the clock all day long.
Exactly. Watching the Reds and the Guardians.
Yeah. Good to have you along with us. Speaking of the Reds and Guardians, we'll tell you how they did, all coming up later on Sports Today. Tomorrow is a federal holiday, so we'll talk about that a little bit. So if you're not supposed to go to work tomorrow, you won't waste a trip. But maybe a conversation can spring out as to what you do when you have a day off. All that's coming up. The weather is how we start out. Rain, a possibility today as well as tomorrow. There is a possibility that storms could be severe later tonight. I think the last thing I saw on that, most of the severe weather they were saying might be west of I-75, so extreme western Ohio, but they were not completely ruling out the possibility that some of that could come over in our direction. Things really start getting nice on Friday with sunshine through the weekend, and I think no sign of rain again from Friday through maybe Wednesday. Also a thing about the weather next week, temperatures are supposed to climb into the 90s. So get your bathing suits out or whatever you have to wear to stay cool in the hot weather. Make sure you got that air conditioning on. Maybe that's something we can talk about later with one of our great sponsors.
I just hope you don't wear a bathing suit to work.
Well, not to work. Yeah. Well,
I'll get up and walk out that door.
I might just try that just to see if you do.
Don't do that.
We'll see. We'll see how that all works out down the road. Mike Smith. I know it will not be a Speedo. It will not be. I would not do that to you. We'll get to all of our topics for the day here on Litter Media Live for this Wednesday, coming up here in just a moment. Speaking of making sure your air conditioning is ready to go for those 90-degree temperatures, here's the folks you want to get in to contact: Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. They've been around for more than 4 decades. For many years, served predominantly the Scioto Valley, but they have spread their wings, and now they're up in the Columbus area, western Ohio, all the way down into southern Ohio, over to the east. Give them a call. See if they can come into your area. Maybe you're a residential, commercial, doesn't matter. They do both. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor.
Each week, we'll announce the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. And in December, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Nominate any amateur athlete by visiting littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. You'll also see the players we've named throughout the year. Make your nomination today for the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. Discover Ross County. From the breathtaking outdoor adventures to the historic sights of Chillicothe and family-friendly events and festivals. Explore more at visitchillicotheohio.com or download the free mobile app today.
Whenever I first applied for the Archways opportunity, do I have to pay this back? Do I have to do that? Like, is it a loan? And it's not. It's a scholarship. A goal of mine is to graduate college debt-free. If you're a crew member, you get $2,500 a year, and if you're a manager, you get $3,000. And especially if you're going locally to college, like to the branch or something like that, it's really helpful.
The Bean Foundation wants to raise awareness about suicide prevention by sharing 988. Trained crisis counselors are available to talk 24/7, 365 days a year. 988. Save the number. Save a life. To learn more about the Bean Foundation, click on this ad on littermedia.com.
Tecumseh. Fascinating. Captivating. Mesmerizing. Tecumseh.
Welcome back to Litter Media Live, and we go to the topics of the day. Earlier this morning, if you didn't get a chance to see it live, we talked to William Mahaffey, the new executive director of the Scioto Paint Valley Mental Health Center. I say new. William has been on the job now for 10 months. But he came in to talk about the fact that June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Week, as well as Men's Health, or month, I should say, not week. And a lot of our conversation dealt with the fact that it's been tough over the decades, maybe centuries, for men to talk about mental health or mental well-being.
We feel like it doesn't get talked enough, and this is very true.
Right.
And not just that, but also the prevention efforts when it comes to Men's Health Month. We're 50% less likely to even seek any preventative health care. Mm-hmm. We typically wait till a diagnosis is required to be able to get help. Well, a lot of men in the population, they even refuse to get insurance. They refuse to even kind of speak up whenever they need to.
Yeah. And
there's a significant stigma with that, as it comes to a lot of professions. Even if you're trying to join the military, there's a stigma when it comes to being able to speak up for your own abilities. Just because if you're trying to get to the military, there are certain disorders that are disqualifying.
Right.
And even if you want to become a pilot, mm-hmm. they're ground you if you have a mental health diagnosis.
If you didn't get a chance to see William's live interview this morning, you can go to our Litter Media YouTube and find the entire interview. And I think it's going to be well worth even for the ladies out there, give this a look. If you've got husbands or dads or whatever, could be a very helpful topic for you to check out.
Yeah. The Supply Chain Management Center, which includes the operation in Portsmouth, a U.S. Department of Energy strategic sourcing program, recently passed a significant milestone, achieving more than $2 billion in savings by National Nuclear Security Administration and DOE environmental management prime contractors across the country. FBP has contributed $22 million to the $2 billion SCMC-enabled savings milestone.
That's a lot of money, folks.
That's a lot of money.
We talk about how sometimes government wastes money. Well, here's an example of saving some, so we applaud those folks. Ohio Department of Agriculture Director Baldridge was visiting the Pickaway County Fair, which is still going on this week up in Circleville. And while there, he congratulated them on 80 years of being a county fair. Congratulations.
And while we're talking about the fair, we want to remind you that the Jackson County Fair will be held July 11th through the 19th this year.
And before you know it, it'll be here.
Yeah.
A reminder that tomorrow is a federal holiday, Juneteenth. So if you tune in tomorrow, you'll see what the history of that is on our This Date in History. That's coming up for tomorrow. But just a reminder that tomorrow is, because it's federal holiday, local, state, and federal government offices will be closed. No mail delivery for tomorrow, and a number of the banks, probably a lot of them, will be closed tomorrow as well. Reminder on the road report, slide repair project on US 52 between Brouse's Run Road and Carey's Run Pond Creek Road. That's going through this summer, and all lanes will be maintained except when they have to have heavy equipment cross the roadway every once in a while. That might slow traffic. But just, as always, wherever you see those orange barrels, slow down. A lot to talk about in sports, most of it baseball. All that ahead here on Litter Media Live. Scioto Valley Dumpsters, they're the folks with the orange dumpsters. They can get you one of these magnificent containers for your cleanup project around your property. Give them a call at 253-8389 for an estimate.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance, on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
As a basketball coach and a dad, I need to be able to keep up.
Mark came to the Adena Orthopedic and Spine Institute in severe arm pain from a degenerative disc.
I was so confident in Dr. Fleming, he explained everything.
Together, they decided on minimally invasive spinal surgery to relieve Mark's pain and get him back to what matters most. At Adena, we do what we love, so you can too.
I guess it's time for sports, if you're interested in sports. The Chillicothe Paints last night split a doubleheader with the Rex. They lost 11-4 in the opener, but won the nightcap 10-1. Now, the Paints are idle tonight. They return home versus Champion City on Thursday, which, of course, is
Tomorrow. So what's Thirsty Thursday? Is it like $2 beers or something?
I know it's a special price, but I don't know exactly what the cost is.
Good news for the Reds last night. They beat the Twins 6-5, and the Cleveland Guardians beat the Giants 3-2.
In the Reds game, they got ahead 4-1. They gave up 4 runs in the 6th, and then the Reds came back and took the lead and held on. That's 3 straight, I think, for them. They're 3 games over 500.
Okay.
So maybe that's 4 straight victories. But I think they've won 8 of their last 11. How about that? So go Redlegs. They'll be back at it again tonight in Cincinnati against the Twins.
And we'll hope that you didn't just jinx them.
I just giving you the facts. Tays Valley graduate Brett Carson, who played 38 games with the Paints back in 2022 and was also the Ohio Athletic Conference Player of the Year while at Marietta College, is now playing banana baseball for the Texas Tailgaters. Recently, they played 2 games at Cincinnati's Great American Ballpark. Have you ever seen these guys play?
I've seen clips of the Savannah Bananas, but I've never sat down and watched a full game.
It's kind of like the Globetrotters
Yeah.
playing baseball, yeah. But they are a lot of fun.
They beat the Bananas, didn't they?
That could be. I'm not real sure about that. But I know Laura was down in Charleston, West Virginia for some kind of a volleyball tournament or something, and the Bananas were down there at that time. Of course, he doesn't play for the Bananas. He plays for the Tailgater. But there he is, Brett Carson, Tays Valley graduate. The Stanley Cup goes again to the Florida Panthers for a second straight year. They wrapped up their series over the Oilers with a 5-1 victory last night, taking the series 4 games to 2. I think in the regular season they were 3rd in their division, 5th in their conference, and here they won it all for a second straight year. When we come back, we're going back to 1812 for a look at this date in history.
But first, we want to tell you about Litter Quality Propane, online all the time. Customer payment, account information, and more. Log on at litterpropane.com.
Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch just to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing, download the Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
Introducing the Petland Litter Media Pet of the Week. We want to put your pet in the spotlight. Pets with paws to pets with fins. If they gallop, crawl, or slither, play fetch, or simply curl up and snuggle. Send us a photo of your pet and we'll announce a new pet each week. And one pet will be crowned Pet of the Year. To nominate your pet, visit littermedia.com. Click on Pet of the Week. Tell us about your pet and be sure to include a photo. Watch Litter Media Live each Thursday for the announcement of the Petland Litter Media Pet of the Week. No purchase necessary. Contest applications must be from Ohio residents and at least 18 years old.
Life. It can get on top of you quickly, can't it? But with 211, it only takes one step to get connected to the help you need. 211 is always available to help. So get in touch today.
Going on right now, while supplies last, is Hometown Motors Incorporated Spring Sales Event. New riding tractors starting at $1699.99. New zero-turn mowers starting at $3399.99. New walk-behinds starting at $399.99. Chainsaws starting at $279.99. New blowers starting at $199.99. And trimmers starting at $229.99. Hurry in to get the best selection because with prices like this, they're not going to last much longer. Hometown Motors, your store for the outdoors.
Would you prefer to ride or push?
I've never done a riding mower, but I push mow.
You've never been on a riding mower?
Nope. We didn't have enough land to justify it.
Okay.
And we want to clarify.
Well, but you work for the Park District. I thought maybe they had a zero turn or something.
No, I push mowed for them.
Okay.
Want to clarify. Thirsty Thursday is $2 draft beers during the game.
$2.
For the paints tomorrow.
$2. On this date in history, in the year 1812, and by the way, we don't have our resident artist with us today, and Dan bought a beautiful new whiteboard.
And he hid the markers
from us. But he hid the markers from us, so we can't use, and maybe that's by design. Maybe that's by design. He doesn't want us using his board. But on this date in 1812, the day after the Senate followed the House of Representatives in voting to declare war against Great Britain, President James Madison signed the declaration into law, and the War of 1812 begins. Have you ever seen these man-in-the-street interviews where they talk to just, what's such and such in history?
Yeah.
And some of the answers, and these people are dead serious, it's like, you got to be kidding me. What were you doing in school, if they were teaching you at all? But this is not all that many years removed from the American Revolution, and we're fighting with Britain again. The American War Declaration, opposed by a sizable minority in Congress, had been called in response to the British economic blockade of France, the induction of American seamen into the British Royal Navy. In other words, they kidnapped them and said, you got to be our Navy guys now, and the British support of Indian tribes along the Great Lakes frontier. So that's a little bit of background at what led to the War of 1812, which it was always kind of a goofy name for me because it lasted longer than 1812.
Right, but it started in 1812.
Yeah. Well, maybe they should call it the war that started in 1812.
I call it The Empire Strikes Back, which I found out before the show is a movie you've never seen.
Yeah. I only saw whatever 1 and 3 was. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
And I've not watched any of the retro. Yeah, never mind. That's going to cover it for today. I'm sure Dan will be back with us tomorrow. But if you have the day off tomorrow, you can still tune in to Litter Media Live. We'll be here around 11 o'clock. No special interviews for us tomorrow morning unless something happens between now and then that we need to get somebody in here. But hopefully you'll be able to join us tomorrow. So for Aaron Glandon, this is Mike Smith, and on behalf of Dan Ramey, and from all of us at Litter Media Live, see you tomorrow.